Before coming to lab, complete all appropriate calculations. Acetone, air, and water flow rates should be calculated and checked by the lab instructor prior to lab time. When in the lab, proper PPE should be worn at all times. This includes hard hats, goggles, and gloves. Long pants and closed-toed shoes are required to prevent potential chemical hazards. Long hair should be tied up or worn under the hard hat due to the presence of rotating shafts in the compressor. Loose clothing should not be worn. Earplugs can be worn for noise protection. Before beginning experimentation, check with the instructor to make sure the steam supply from the outside source is on. Additionally, ensure that FHV 143 and FHV 139 are open. These valves should remain open throughout the entirety of the lab. All calibrations will occur before full system startup. Flow meters FI 117 and FI 138 need to be calibrated, and an acetone water curve needs to be developed using the refractometer. For detailed procedures on the calibration of FI 117 and the preparation of the acetone water curve using the refractometer, refer to the packed bed and refractometer video SOPs respectively. To calibrate the acetone flow meter, labeled FI 138, ensure that valves FHV 136, FHV 138, and FHV 140 are all closed. Fill the tank at the top of the column, F135, with an appropriate level of acetone. Place a collection bucket or graduated cylinder by the acetone outlet at FHV 138. To direct the flow of acetone out and into the bucket, open valves FHV 136 and FHV 138. The flow rate of acetone can be adjusted by turning valve FHV 137. For various readings of FI 138, collect acetone in a graduated cylinder over a known time interval. Record the volume and time for each trial. Once completed, all acetone can be recycled back into F135. Throughout the remainder of experimentation, the acetone level in F135 should be monitored so as not to empty. To begin column operation, ensure that valves FHV 136 and FHV 138 are closed to prevent tank F135 from emptying. Set FHV 119 to point upward to direct water flow into the top of the column. Open valves FHV 112, FHV 113, and FHV 114 to direct city water into the system. Adjust valve FHV 115 to achieve the desired water flow rate into the column. Partially open valve FHV 148 at the bottom of the column. The water level at the bottom of the column will need to be constantly monitored throughout the lab to ensure that it remains between the green arrows. Open valve FHV 116 no more than a few degrees every 15 seconds to input steam into the system. When adjusting FHV 116, heat-resistant gloves should be worn due to the high pressure and temperature conditions. A ladder will be required to reach FHV 116. Have a second group member hold the ladder as the first group member opens the steam valve. Open FHV 111 partially to allow the steam flow into heat exchanger E110. Be careful not to open this valve fully, otherwise the water entering the column will quickly rise to a temperature above 80 degrees Celsius, the operating temperature limit for this column. To achieve the desired water temperature displayed on TI 118, manipulate valves FHV 111, FHV 114, and FHV 113. Refer to the packed bed video SOP for a detailed breakdown on how to adjust these valves. Once the water temperature has settled, turn on the compressor by flipping the switch on S1 and pressing the start button on S2. Open valve FHV 131 to direct compressed air into the system. Check PI 133 to ensure that a positive pressure reading is displayed, and if not, adjust PC 132. Adjust valve FHV 126 to achieve the desired air pressure as displayed on PI 125. Open FHV 127 fully to direct steam through heat exchanger E130. This ensures that the inlet steam and air merge into the same line to vaporize the inlet liquid acetone, preventing it from entering E130. Should liquid acetone enter E130, enact the emergency shutdown procedure. Open valves FHV 136 and FHV 140 to allow acetone to enter the system and adjust FHV 137 to set the desired acetone flow rate as read on FI 138. Let the acetone run through the system for at least 15 minutes before sample collection to approximate steady state. After the 15 minutes, collect samples out of FHV 148 every 15 minutes. Collect a total of 4 samples minimum. To analyze the data, a calibration curve that relates the acetone concentration in water and the refractive index will be needed. Solution preparation should be done under the hood, and glass pipettes should be used when dealing with volatile chemical compounds. To begin the shutdown procedure for the gas absorber, start by closing FHV 140 and adjust FHV 137 until FI 138 reads 0 to stop acetone from flowing into the system. Press the stop button on box S2 and pull down the lever on box S1 to turn off the air compressor. To stop the flow of steam, close valves FHV 111, FHV 127, and FHV 116. Then, close valves FHV 112, FHV 113, FHV 114, and FHV 115 to stop the flow of water into the system. Close valve FHV 131 to stop the flow of compressed air. Turn FHV 119 so it is pointing downward. This will allow the column to drain by directing the flow through the drain instead of through the column. Acetone must be drained from tank F135 before leaving the lab area. Open valve FHV 136 and collect acetone in a waste container to drain the tank. Once all acetone has been emptied from the system, close valves FHV 136 and FHV 138. Drain any remaining water from the column by opening FHV 148. Allow the column to dry by leaving FHV 148 open. There are a few additional safety concerns associated with the gas absorber operation. First, if the water level exiting the column goes above the top green arrow placed on the column, open valve FHV 134 immediately. Additionally, ensure that FHV 148 is open completely. This will prevent water from entering the heat exchanger and compressor. Leave FHV 134 open until the water level exiting the column is below the top green arrow. Another hazard to be aware of is if liquid acetone begins entering heat exchanger E130. If this occurs, close valve FHV 140 to ensure that no more liquid acetone is entering E130. Then, make sure steam is entering the system by ensuring valve FHV 116 is open. Also check that the air flow rate entering the system is set to the desired value. Once both the air flow rate and steam valves are checked, FHV 140 can be reopened to allow acetone to enter the system again. Finally, in case of an emergency, follow the shutdown procedure.